Welcome to a Meldon Law Monday. Happy Thanksgiving, and it should be for Gator fans a very happy Thanksgiving. Don't know what's up with the software anymore. It doesn't want to give us our show preview we do, but we're going to have a good one tonight. We've got lots and lots of people on. Shane Matthews, the QB1, is standing by in the orange and blue room. Tonight, we're also going to have Carlton Reese. We're going to have Ben Troop, who's usually with us on Thursdays, but we don't have a Thursday show because of Thanksgiving. We got Rob Brown, maybe Franz Beard, and RIP to his stepfather, Don Reynolds. He was at his services today, and I don't know if Franz will be here or not, but nonetheless, our best to their family. So it's going to be a night of celebration for many, a night of some for I told you so. Everybody now wants to say, I told you so. Okay. There's room on the bandwagon. All you haters, come on. That's fine. But we all had our doubts. I certainly had mine. Billy Napier said today he understands why people had doubts. We'll talk about doubts. Talk about the good days now. Bowl bound. Going to be at least 500 or better. Got a chance to have a winning season. And Florida State favored by 15 at Bobby Bowden Field. Wow. Things have sure turned around. I can't remember last time things turned around like this. This is a fantastic week for the Gators. Stand by. Next, Shane Matthews right here on the Buddy Martin Show, Meldon on Monday.
For Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. How many of you thought we'd see this day this year? Raise your hand. Look out, your nose is getting long. What a turnaround. As I said in my preview that didn't make it on software, boom, boom, and boom. The first two for beating favored teams in the swamp. Two terrific wins back to back. The third for boom, a bowl game, and recruiting has gotten crazy good. If you believe in turnarounds and flip arounds, and I call them flipperooskies, boy, they got some of those going big time. So I know Shane didn't talk much about that kind of thing, but I can tell you, check it out. We got a list of them, and there's been 5 real big flips in Florida's direction. So here it is, FSU week. Not what we thought, right? Although every time I brought him up, Shane always said, I don't think they'll be very good. And on that count, he certainly had it right. And they're not very good, correct. So good evening to the QB1 himself, watching the Manning Cast, no doubt, on a Monday night. Takes a couple minutes to sort of drop in on our show occasionally. The host of Pot Up with Matthews, that would be Shane himself. Good evening, Shane.
How we doing, buddy?
I'm doing terrific. It was really a fun time in the swamp, although it's very cold. And what a finish to a ball game. And we've had them back to back now. And suddenly things have flipped around, Shane. I don't know where you stand on it now, but it's looking more and more like a turnaround.
Yeah, it's been somewhat remarkable. The bend but don't break defense has been quite amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Billy had a tremendous game plan on both sides of the ball, especially offensively. We just ran the football better than anybody has run it on Ole Miss this year. I said on my show, Billy in his first pretty much, we're almost done with year 3, but almost the entire year or all 3 years he's had such bad luck. It's kind of changed the last couple of weeks.
That is true. That is very true.
And I mean, to win football games, sometimes the ball has to bounce your way.
Most games, especially.
Yeah, I mean, the last two opponents have had almost 500 yards, buddy, but scored 16 and 17 points. That's just hard to believe. But the Gators have come up with big plays, big turnovers, big sacks, penalties here or there have helped. So it's just part of football.
Everything is coming together at one time. I don't know which is the more surprising. As you know, I have been a huge Lagway fan from the start. I'm not saying I told you so. I don't think there's anybody out there can say I told you. I don't want to hear from you. But
well, it's not like it was not like a guy who came just showed up. I mean, he was the number one player in America.
I know Shane, but I said he was going to be a great quarterback a long time ago when I said that. Now, maybe that was foolish. That's how I felt. I'm not visionary. I'm not an oracle. You know quarterbacking well, I ever know about it. But what he has done with his bad mechanics, whatever you want to say, I heard a comment today about Cole Kubelik. That's right on. And we know this. Everybody's better when Lagway's in the game, including the defense. You know, it's the old rising tide raises all ships. Kubelik said that today. The defense is better. And that defense, I mean, where did it come from, Shane?
Well, there's playing base defense, keeping the ball in front of you. They kept the ball. There were no explosive plays against LSU. Ole Miss had a few explosive plays that were just well designed, excellent execution. That's going to happen. But like I said, the teams have been going up and down the field. They're just not scoring. Ole Miss was 0 for 3 in the red zone, 2 for 4 on fourth downs, and credit the pass rush, credit the crowd. Crowd had a lot to do with it.
Tackling of those big guys, that big Pagans couldn't do anything. They knocked him They knocked him behind the line of scrimmage. So that play didn't work.
Well, it worked 2 of the times. They were 2 for 4 on it.
Actually, I just saw 3 that they weren't on. So anyway, nonetheless.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
somebody else. I don't know.
It's no. I thought the Ole Miss win was the biggest win Florida's had in 15 years, probably.
Yeah,
they beat a damn good football team.
You put them together, the 2 weekends, it'd be hard pressed to come up with 2 back-to-back weekends, given where they came from. Like I said last week, it's one thing to say, well, you can't go by 1 win. That didn't do anything. I get it. But Shane, when you're dying in desperation for liquid on the desert and someone gives you a drink out of a can, their water bottle, it's big. And that win was huge for a lot of reasons, because if we have not seen this turnaround and we had seen Scott Strickland go ahead with what we thought, and I think we both thought at one point Billy just wasn't going to get it done. I even said at one point he was dead, bad, and walking. But I did reverse myself 3 weeks ago. I'm not going to be one of those guys who said, I told you so. And when he didn't make that move, I said, I don't see anybody better. People said, Lane Kiffin. I'm not sure Lane Kiffin's the guy. I said that, and not pat myself on the back. A lot of people did. The point is that
let me ask you this, buddy. Whether it's Lane Kiffin or whoever, just because we lost the game, is that why you say he's not the guy? Or you just never thought
I didn't see the program going in the right direction 3 weeks ago until the open date. I didn't see it.
No, I'm saying I'm a huge Lane Kiffin guy. I love Billy too. But just because Billy beat Lane Kiffin doesn't – I mean, I don't worry about the head-to-head stuff.
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that at all. And I said at the time that I didn't think he was the right guy, because I didn't think they were going to throw all that money at him. B, and I use this example. Scott Woodward tried to do that at Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher. Didn't work out. He's tried it now at LSU. It hasn't worked out. Throwing money at somebody doesn't always work. So that was my point, is that you cannot say, oh, let's spend $100 million. We're going to get the right guy. It doesn't always work that way. I think what we saw was finally, I don't know what that number was, or what it took. Billy said they found themselves during the open date weekend. You heard him say that. He said they found something. And I hear it from the players when they say, Coach Napier has been the same the whole time. Now, sometimes we wish he wasn't. Sometimes we wish he'd been a little more flamboyant about it. The fact is, the player is convinced that he's the same way all the time, and they bought into that. And they bought into it to the point where they turned the program around. And I'm not saying they fixed everything, and Billy's not saying it. His press conference today, he didn't say that. I just think the magnitude of what happened those 2 weeks, those 2 games in that open day, where you said the one game, I think the whole thing, a transformation, whatever happens from here, because now look, we got FSU, 15-point favorite, and bowling someplace. I got my own personal preferences. So right now, life is good for a change, Shane, for the Florida Gators.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go to a bowl game, which is, I said I thought we'd win 8 games at the beginning of the year. We still have an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Like I said, I think we've obviously played much better, but we're getting breaks where we didn't get any breaks the first 3 years at all.
I thought this game was going to turn out that way with an injury and a targeting call right off the bat. I thought, man, they don't need this. But what a play they got out of their secondary. Remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, their best player got knocked out of the game. Their best corner got knocked out of the game. They muffed a punt. I mean, look, those are things that have always been the other way around, you know. I thought the entire key to the game was our offensive line and our defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that won that football game for us, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't know what got into them, but Caleb Banks had a huge. There's 3 or 4 of the bigs had a really big game. There's other players like Miles Graham in there. You saw the secondary, the backup defensive backs were tremendous. Again, it was a fun week for Gator fans. Shane, give me your take now on where we go from here. Certainly they should win the game with no problem Saturday in Tallahassee. Which bowl would you like to see him go to?
I'm hoping for the Music City Bowl.
Okay. Because you want to go to Nashville?
Yes. We've never been there.
Okay.
I guarantee you, if you polled the Gator Nation, I would think Music City would win.
For a destination, without question, it's just the best place to go. I'd like to see him go to the Gator Bowl, Tax Slayer Bowl. And I know they probably won't, but let's just say they know they can fill the seats up there with Florida. Let them go play Kansas or Clemson or somebody. I think that would be great. Now, if they had to win out to do that, had to win this week, and of course, I'll say. I mean, look, the fact that they're in a bowl game, Gator fans should be really, really grateful because 4 weeks ago we didn't think they had a shot at that.
Nope.
What can you say about we haven't said about Lagway?
I thought DJ made some really good plays in the pocket. He was blessed to throw the football. I mean, it's that simple. Everybody thinks he's a great dual threat guy. I disagree with that. I think he's a pure passer. I think he's going to be a pocket guy. I think when he's healthy next year, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of design runs. I really don't.
Well, I mean, if he has to be a willing ball carrier, that's all he has to be when he has to.
That's what I'm saying. He'll scramble when he needs to, but you're not going to see them call a bunch of powers and they'll call some zone reads every now and then with him. But I don't see that happening.
I wouldn't hope they wouldn't. Did you see the underhand Mahomes throw he made?
Yeah.
I missed that. I saw on the game. I didn't see it, and I saw it in the replay. Wait a minute. Wow. What a throw. I thought the touchdown pass he threw was the best throw. Well, no, the 41-yard strike he threw to start the winning drive was a beautiful throw. What do you think his best throw was?
It was his 2 check downs when he eluded the rush. Like I told you, buddy, I know the fans get enamored with these balls down the field, but I'm telling you, they're easy throws for him. Peyton just said, he goes, when you throw the ball deep, you don't even have to read anything. You take your steps and you let it go. They're easy. But when we didn't call a lot of pass plays because Billy knew we couldn't block them. And early in the game, they had him wrapped up. He just shook them off, and he sidearmed one down. I think it was to Jaden Ball for a big check down. It was only like an 8-yard completion, but it was a huge play in the game. and then he shook one off and he hit DK on about an 18-yard crosser with people draped on him. Those to me are way better throws than the other ones because that's hard to do, first of all. And I mean, he's 6'4", 240, 250, but he has the ability to do that. That's what's impressive to me.
I hear you, and I agree with you, but just because if it's so easy to do, how come Florida hadn't done it before now? You kept saying, throw the ball deep, throw the ball deep, throw the ball deep.
Well, because we didn't call it. We did not call it. We did not.
But they must not believe they could do it.
Well, I disagree with that too. I don't think Billy, that again, we threw the ball, I think 17 times in this game, right? That ain't a lot in today's
No, it's
football.
not. It's hard to believe.
Right.
Hard to believe, yeah.
Right. So that's what Billy is, though. Billy, I don't think you'll ever see DJ throw more than 20 to 22 balls in a game unless we're behind.
Yeah.
Because that's not what Billy wants to do.
Right. Let me ask you a question, Shane. How many plays did they run against LSU?
I think it was like 44, 45, something like that.
42, I think. But anyway, okay. And then the last 7 minutes of this game, Florida played some great football, obviously, with the 2 interceptions, naturally. But in terms of total plays in those 7 minutes and 40 seconds, counting both sides, they ran 26 plays. 26 plays in 7 minutes, that would be the equivalent of 50 plays in a quarter. Anyway, they ran a bunch of plays.
You're talking about the end of the game. A lot of those plays, you got to remember, Ole Miss was in a hurry up because they were behind.
I got it, but the point is that's still a lot of plays. And Florida stood the test, and their secondary was, I mean, what a day they had for sure. All right, so now we move on. We're going on to Tallahassee. And whoever thought they'd go as a 15-point favorite on Bobby Bowden Field. That's amazing. This is how bad this team is, I guess.
Well, they finally scored 20. They had not scored 21 points in a game until Saturday.
Right. It is a 7 o'clock, according to what I'm reading here, kick for FSU Florida on ESPN2. That's what they're saying. We didn't know if it's 7:30. Now, this is the height of insult. How many games has Joe Tessitore done in Florida this year?
Quite a few.
Yeah. What does that mean? They're the number one team, broadcast team, right? Tessitore.
I don't know.
McElroy, Tessitore. Yeah.
I don't know who their number one. I mean, it could be Joe, but it could be Sean McDonough's crew too now.
Yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, Tessitore, and the point is they're the number one. They're certainly one of the best teams, depending on the night of the day. Get this. Can you tell me for $100, Shane, without reading it, who is doing the game for ABC and out of Tallahassee? What analysts and what broadcasters?
I don't know, but I would not think it would be anybody because, buddy, we're playing. It's a 6-5 team against a 2-9 team.
I get it. That's my point. This is the thing. Hurts Florida. FSU is hurting Florida.
How?
And because they're playing such a lousy team.
Well, we're 6-5 too. So
hang on a second, Shane. I mean, 6-5 when they played earlier in the year. They got the top draw of the down. So this is how bad this game is. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You ever heard of Rocky Boyman?
Yeah, I have. He played linebacker. He was a linebacker, I think, at Oklahoma.
I never heard of him. Have you ever heard of? He's an analyst. Have you heard of Jay Alter?
I've not heard of that person.
Play-by-play.
Yeah.
You ever heard of Ashley Strolan?
No.
Analyst.
Well, buddy, it's a very simple process for you. Then
I get it.
Turn it down. Turn the volume off and listen to me and Sean.
I usually do. I do that when I get in the press box. I don't care.
You can do it at home too.
I do it at home. I'll sometimes go in and out, but I'll definitely tune you in. Listen.
But okay, so let me ask you this: who do you think should be broadcasting our game?
I think this is probably about what this game deserves. I just say it didn't deserve more. I'm just telling you, this is how bad it is when you play an FSU team that's 2-9. Here's somebody said, "Wow, I guess when the Simmons are 2-9, they send in the fifth string announcing crew. That's about what they did. Yeah, so that's what's happening. All right, Melvin Law Monday. Shane Matthews with us for another few minutes, but maybe 8 or 9 at least. And then we're going to go on and talk about the big game. I've got this new word called flipperooski. I know you don't follow for recruiting, but Shane, things have gone crazy here on these flips toward Florida. Have you heard about them?
I mean, I have not followed it. I know that I know the other day we got some flips. I don't know what we got today.
No, Shane, it's more than the other day we got. Listen to this. Ty Jackson, top 100 linebacker from Seminole Ridge, has flipped from Southern Cal. He's been with them for a year. Then a wide receiver of Muiz Tunkara, also top-notch, 4-star, says he's flipping from Arizona to Florida. And he's a 6'4", 195-pound wide receiver from League City, Texas. Committed to the Wildcats since July. Now, another one, after being committed to Cincinnati since June 2025, prospect Johari Medlock has now flipped his commitment to the Florida Gators. Comes after a strong return trip to Gainesville for the victory. And this has happened to 4 or 5 top-notch players who flipped to Florida. Now, I went back and looked at some video. Remember when you saw at the end when they intercepted the ball, they ran down the field and the whole team went down? Mm-hmm. You realize what they were doing? That's where the recruits were.
Yeah.
They went down in front of the recruits. So it had where people want to believe what kind of impact it has. The fact is that that's a huge deal. And there's a post I used to picture my column where Lagway said, "You're gonna be with us, or you're not gonna see us when we get the thing out." Anyway, it's a great quote about whether you better be with us if you want to win. And now he's getting calls from people. Shane, it's happening. Never mind what we think or what the rich boosters think, or the kids, the players are wanting to play at Florida. Shane, why?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to get excited about it until they sign the dotted line. Because weren't we excited at this time last year? We had a bunch of people flipping, and I'm not trying to be negative Nelly here. I'm just being realistic. Let's get excited once they're wearing our uniform, right?
That used to be the way I felt. I've learned I was wrong about that. I've learned now that you can look at trends when you have players committed to fight to big schools for long periods of time, and suddenly, all of a sudden, they're leaving and what have you to come play at Florida. That now becomes significant, and I think these are the kind of kids who might stick with you. I don't know. Just my feeling, but we'll see. I got a good feeling about this. I think they've really made, for all you people who said Billy couldn't recruit, well, what is that? What does that say? So, I mean, I'm not making more out of it, but it's okay to get a little excited about it because people are noticing the Florida Gators. Now, the rankings are not. I don't know that they need to be ranked, but I mean, they're getting noticed. You're getting noticed the right place. Never mind the rankings. They don't matter at this point in time, but the recruiting cycle does. If they come away out of this thing with 5 or 6, 4 or 5 stars, that's significant. They still got to work in the portal. How do you think they'll do in the portal?
I think it just depends on who's in the portal and where those kids that are in the. You know, I think recruiting now is, especially in the portal. You know, who knows? I don't know what to think. I do think we need to get 2 established wide receivers out of the portal.
Okay.
I think people don't realize how good DK and Badger are.
Boy, they are good, aren't they? They are good.
Well, they're savvy. They just know how to get open. They know how to body up defenders. They do a lot of things that you can't teach, and we need to find a couple of them like them.
Shane, on your show, have you had a lot of people jump on the bandwagon?
I mean, I don't think there's as many negative people now, but I still think there's a bunch of people that aren't real sure moving forward.
When you say aren't real sure what? That they're going to win, or real sure Billy's the right guy, or real sure what?
I think both. I think because, I mean, obviously the last 2 weeks have been great, but I mean, I don't even know what Billy's record is overall.
It's like 17-20 or something.
Something like that. So I totally see where people are coming from, but I think, next year you got to win 9-10 games. There's no other way around it.
Do you think you can?
I think a lot of things have to go their way.
Well, it went against, like you said, they've been going against them. They get a few breaks. Who knows what might happen, right?
Yeah, and I still don't think they're going to hire an offensive coordinator.
Not now. So let's ask this guy what Billy's record was. He'll know that. Franz Beer, good evening to you, and condolences to your family, friends. I know you lost Dom Reynolds, your stepfather, and you've been there all day. And my best to your mom, Carlita, and your family. And I know it's a hard one.
Yeah, it is. But, it wasn't a funeral today. It was a celebration. We celebrated a life that was well lived.
Yeah.
By a terrific man who was a Gator through and through, despite his education at VMI, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt.
Pretty good paper, pretty good parchment right there, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And turned down a chance to go get his PhD at Southern Cal that the Marines would have paid for.
Wow.
Billy is. He's 11-14 going into this season, and now he's 17-19 with a chance to even the record. The Gators could win. The Gators could win the next, 2 games. Talking about FSU in a bowl game, finish 8-5, and quite frankly, that's where I had them picked at the beginning of the year when we were saying, how many games are they going to win this year? And I said 8. And I said, if the stars and planets align, they could win 9. And they should have won the Tennessee game. So that would have been the 9th win. But this is a team that found itself. And it's kind of like, what it reminded me of? Shane, it reminded me of you guys in 1992 when y'all were looking kind of shaky, and then all of a sudden your team found itself. The young guys started playing. For example, Reggie Green and Jason Odom started playing very, very well, and all of a sudden the Gators became formidable. And quite frankly, the toughest game Alabama played all year was against the Florida team that was supposed to be a heavy underdog. And I look at it like this. Some teams take a while to find themselves. And I think this team found itself at the right time. And I think for Billy Napier, it couldn't have happened at a better time, because I count myself as one of the people that thought he had a foot out the door because the defense was letting him down in such a way. But you look at what's happened, and it's that defense right now that is just. You realize that in the last 4 second half quarters, 2 against LSU, 2 against Ole Miss, they've allowed 3 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty phenomenal when you ask me, because those are 2 really good offenses. And
let me ask you this question, Franz, real quick before Shane's got to go. I haven't heard this. David Baldoff says DK is gone. I haven't heard that. Have you?
DK's a senior.
I thought he was leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
No, DK's a senior. Badger could come back. He is considered a redshirt junior. He could come back. And, if he doesn't hear the right thing from the NFL, he could do what Ricky Pearsall did. Ricky Pearsall heard that he was, did the evals, and they said, fourth, fifth rounder after his first year here at Florida. So he bet on himself and came back. And look at what happened. Now, personally, I think Elijah Badger is as good a receiver as there is out there. I think Trey Harris, when he's healthy at Ole Miss, is the best receiver in the country. But I put Badger as one of he's on my short list for really great receivers.
All right, let me get Shane out of here. He's got to go, and you hang around for a second, friends, if you will. Freddie Weeby, good evening to you. Shane, on the show tomorrow, who you got?
I got you, buddy, and I got Chris Harry. We're going to talk Gator hoops. They play
Yeah. See the ratings today? Back in basketball rankings, the AP don't mean anything. We'll talk about those with friends. All right, what assignment do I have tomorrow, Shane, tomorrow morning?
What's that?
What assignment do I have for tomorrow morning?
Just bring your A game, buddy.
Okay. The QB, don't forget, Pot Up with Matthews every morning right here on these channels. Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it, buddy.
Take care, guys. See you, friends.
Thank you, Shane.
All right, we're going to go take a quick break, and we're going to go get Carlton Reese. And we got a big show behind us. A lot of people waiting in line. I'm glad friends could make it. I want to tell you first about our sponsor, Melvin Law. Talked to Jeffrey over the weekend. He called me. He's so excited about what's happening. He's all pumped up. We're going to talk to him tomorrow. Try to have him on during the Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all you folks. We don't have a show on Thursday, so we will have our usual Thanksgiving crowd next couple of days, and we're also sending out our condolences to Francis' family. I want to tell you, I know that certainly a guy who's a big fan of yours, Franz, and someone who sends his condolences is Jeffrey Melvin, a true Gator, and a guy who is not only does he sponsor this show and do so many things and give away all kinds of tickets on Melvin Law on their Facebook page, tickets to now gymnastics, basketball, what have you. If you want to score some, try it out. He wants you to know too. He is in the law business. They have 4 locations to serve you: Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, and Lake City. And if you have an issue or a problem, which I did, and I went to him about, he can take care of your needs or get you in the right place. That's what you want out of your lawyer. So check him out. Melvin Law. They don't back down. Francis?
Jeffrey defines what community involvement is about.
Yes, he does.
And, I'm just saying this not because he's a sponsor of the show, but in getting to know Jeffrey, the guy, his heart bleeds Gainesville. We talk about some people, their heart bleeds orange and blue. Well, there's orange and blue blood with Jeffrey as well, but his heart bleeds Gainesville and Alachua County, and he is to be commended. I think if more people who do well were to invest in the community as Jeffrey has, the community would be so much better. And
no doubt.
Does it. He puts his money where his mouth is.
Joining us now on the program with a baseball hat that says BT on it because it's reversed.
Blessed Trinity.
Blessed Trinity, yeah. This is a guy who was with it. We're all sitting in the press box. It was cold up there, guys. It was cold. But what a great day to be in the press box at Florida Field. As crappy as that press box is. Carlton Reese, who wrote a nice column, and France, of course, always does great work. Guys, I think we saw some kind of special this weekend, right, Carlton?
Absolutely. It almost felt like the LSU weekend, but times 2. Kind of the same feeling, but Ole Miss was a much better team that Florida beat than the one they beat against LSU. Again, all the recruits were there. The flips are happening like you and Shane were talking about. Just kind of that same feel good, but it was a validation. LSU win was validating, for all the people who thought, we know there's a good team hiding in there somewhere, and we finally saw it. Well, now it happened again. It's more than just a team that emerged, for one game. This is now a team that, I think we can pretty much count on to go out there and ball.
It was, I know, Franz, you go back a ways. I was trying to think the back-to-back weeks like that. Talk about a reversal of fortune, a term we've all used a lot lately. I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger reversal of fortunes in one season by a Florida football team, Saturday to Saturday. Franz, have you?
I'd really have to rack my brain to find such a time. This team, I think, as I was talking about earlier, they found themselves, and it was interesting listening to Billy talk Saturday after the game about these guys did not point fingers at each other. They didn't blame the coaches, but what they did was they said, we've got to do better. We have to play better. We have to play as well as we're capable of playing. And when teams do that, I think good things really happen. I think that we don't put enough stock in how teams police themselves, take responsibility for themselves, become accountable to each other. Billy talked about how accountable these guys are to each other. And there's something to be said for that. I think one of the ways we could put it is you guys both have kids, and both of you, I'm sure, can remember times when you're sitting there wanting to pull your hair out because your kids, and all of a sudden it's like the lights went on. The kids became accountable, responsible, and suddenly you have a kid that's night and day different, in a short period of time than he was before. And accountability and responsibility will do that for you. And I think that that's what happened with this team was they sat there, they said, okay, what's gone wrong? What do we need to do about it? There was a team meeting called by Justice Boone and Graham Mertz, and Lord have mercy, has there been a more impactful guy to a program than Graham Mertz has been? I'm talking about since maybe Tebow. I'm talking about truly impactful.
Off the field as much as on the field, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, impacted the entire culture of the program. And you look at what this guy did and how he continues to impact the team. I asked DJ Lagway the question about Graham Mertz post-game Saturday, and he almost got tearful about it. I mean, he was very, very emotional talking about how Graham has been his guy and been there with him every step of the way. When you can put your egos aside, good things happen. I'm the more I know about Graham Mertz, the more I like Graham Mertz, and the more I feel so badly about what happened to him with the injuries. But yet, you look at what happened and how since it happened, he has become just as impactful. He has not lost his touch.
Yeah, the more I see DJ Lagway, the more I like DJ Lagway. Man, he didn't have his best stuff, Carlton, and I missed that underhanded pass that he threw because I was looking someplace else live, and I went back on the replays and saw it. That was a Mahomes pass. I just can't say enough about this kid. What will he be like, Carlton, when he finally has two wheels?
Yeah, well, Shane Matthews said something when you were talking to him, said he's not a dual threat quarterback. He's a pocket passer. I agree he's a pocket passer, but that guy's still a dual threat because he's a threat to run. Whether they plan to run or not, whether they run, they call a play for a quarterback drawing out, defenses know this guy can escape, and if he needs to run upfield, he's going to. So they have to game plan for that. I remember during the game, I wrote notes on several, like on at least 3 different occasions where he made a play that he had defenders draped on him, grabbing his shoulder pad as he's throwing, something like that. He's dead to rights, and he finds an open for a big game and a gain in a crucial situation. I mean, those are the plays that win football games. It's not, well, he completed only 50% of his passes for 180 yards, and the guy on the other sideline threw for 340 or something like that. Those aren't the numbers that matter. The numbers that matter are the ones where he makes a play that does something special, and that kind of gives juice to everyone in the stadium and keeps the drive alive.
I want to get into a subject here of what happened with the weekend. This guy is really happy. I wrote a column about how things suddenly changed in the SEC and how remarkable it is when teams, as I said, they're like vipers. They hide there and all of a sudden they bite you. And certainly we saw that happen this past weekend in Florida. We saw it certainly on the plains as well. And this guy was, I'm sure, happy to finally see Auburn in a quadruple overtime, guys. The Auburn Tigers bit the Texas A&M Aggies. And who would have thought it? And I bet you were holding your breath there, Rob.
Not really. I expected to win the whole time. I mean, but I will say this. I'm superstitious like Brendan is. He's wearing this shirt, and the Gators have won 2 in a row. And I've been to Lake Martin 2 weekends in a row and stayed out on the lake, and the Gators have won, and Auburn has won. So, I'm like, look, I picked on this show with friends and you. There was a group of us said, what do you pick the Gators to do? And again, I mean, I learn a lot about Auburn and other schools from people that are rivals. And I said the Gators go 8-4 this year. And everybody's got logo fever. And I said that stretch of the last 5 games, I said a few weeks ago, I said Florida will win at least 2, maybe 3 of those last 5. And the Georgia game got away from you. Now the Florida State game, is going to be tougher than you think just because they're desperate. But, yeah, what a game, man. College football, it just keeps getting better. It's amazing. And we talked about it this morning, the 12-team playoff. We know it's about money. Everything's about money. But what you're seeing, DJ Lagway is so far ahead of every other freshman quarterback in America that you're going to see more flips for the Gators in the next 9 days.
You've already seen it. You heard the news lineup?
Yeah, it's
I call
ridiculous.
them Clipperuskis now, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Ty Jackson, Seminole Ridge, top 100 linebacker, Southern Cal, now going to Florida, committed to Florida. Wide receiver Muiz Turnkara from Arizona to Florida. He's from League City, Texas, 6'4", 195. Linebacker from Cincinnati, Jahari Medlock. That's in addition to the ones they got last weekend.
Yeah.
And the quarterback from Florida State. What is going on here, friends? You can talk about the rankings all you want to. You can talk about what people say, where the money is, NIL. When you start seeing guys like that committing in waves, and if you notice when they made the big plays, Carlton ran to the end of the field, they ran right in front of the recruits. All of a sudden, it's resonated with these young guys, friends, in a way I don't remember. Do you?
The last time I remember something like this happening was in 2006, when all of a sudden Florida beat South Carolina, then beats 2005. They beat Florida State 34-7, and there was just this recruiting tsunami, and people wanted to come play at a place where it's exciting, where the crowd's in it. And we've seen 2 consecutive weekends with you could not have asked for a better crowd, a more responsive crowd. My ears didn't stop ringing until sometime Sunday. And you just look at all this stuff that goes on. You get momentum. And particularly in recruiting, momentum pays off because guys want to go play with other guys they think can win and impact ball games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at what Florida's done, and I think that the Gators have picked up the momentum on the field, and it's carried over to recruiting because people wanted to come play with Tim Tebow. People want to come play with DJ Lagway, just as Auburn, people wanted to come play with Cam Newton, big time guy. People wanted to come play with Bryce Young at Alabama. Quarterback is the single most important position in all of sports because it's the one guy that impacts every offensive play that you have. And you get a guy like this, it's unbelievable. And by the way, I want to say something. Next time you get a chance, take a look at the size of this kid's hands. The football is like a grape in his hands. He may have the biggest hands of any quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, they are big.
And which is why you look at him. He threw 5 sidearm passes the other day to avoid the rush. 3 of them were complete. 2 of them were throwaways.
Yeah.
But the guy comes there and he reaches around a guy and all of a sudden flips the wrist. It reminds you of watching a shortstop completing a double play, getting the ball around a guy and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly right. I want to jump in here real fast before we get too far and tell folks about Titan MRI and talk about bowl games. This is the fun time when you get to talk about bowl games. They matter again, Carlton. They matter again, believe it or not. Florida's getting to go to one. Now there's several. I want to get your choices. First, I want to tell you about our friends at TitanMRI.com. They want to make you a custom-made appointment to go get an MRI. You can do that by calling them or go on the line and check them out and TitanMRI.com. They are giving you an opportunity to make your own times. You custom make it. You can make it during the week, night, weekends, whatever. You come there with no insurance, not a problem. You can use your card or cash. It's not going to kill you, not the amount you might think. And also, if you're skittish about getting into one of those tubes, MRI, they have larger than our normal cages for you. I hate to call them that, the tubes you get into. I suggest if you need an MRI, go to TitanMRI.com and check it out. They'll do you right, TitanMRI.com. If I had my choice of bowl games, I'm selfish. I don't want to travel very far, okay? And I would say this probably will never happen, but I'm wishing Florida beats FSU and goes to a winning record, and they get a chance to go to Jacksonville, the Tax Slayer Bowl, and play Clemson or Kansas, something like that. Now, they probably won't. They'll probably go to the Birmingham Bowl or Liberty Bowl, or if Shane wants to go to the Houston City Bowl. I don't know why he does. He wants to go to the National Gasparilla Bowl, etc. All right, I'm going to give you first dibs, Carlson. Where do you want to see him go?
I'm with Shane. Let's go to Nashville. I got a nephew who's graduated from college in Nashville. It might be around the same time, so maybe I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, we're trying to make it tailor-making for ourselves. I hear you.
Both trips are vacations. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I think Florida's got a chance to not have a lot of opt-outs. The last 3 bowl games, they just kind of flushed before they even went out there. I'm hoping this year they actually take a team.
Yeah, I think it's going to just means too much that they would not drop. I think they'll all play. What about you, Rob? I know you don't have a. Yeah, how about they play Auburn? No,
I would love them to come to the Liberty Bowl because I know Steve Earhart, the executive director, and Harold Grader. I would selfishly love to go pull for them against the Big 12 and
TCU probably, huh?
God, yeah, but I mean they're gonna. That's the chance. They got to get 7 Saturday, but that would be 8. DJ Lagway. Right now it's like buying a stock that's really cheap. It's like buying Palantir back in the summer in the low 20s. Check it out now. Yeah, that's where I think I'd love to see them go. And we know Jacksonville because that's right there in your backyard too. So hard to argue with that.
They can fill up that stadium too.
Yes.
Matter of fact,
yeah.
Which would be good. France, have it right there in Jacksonville.
I think Florida goes to Jacksonville. I think they could put Ole Miss. I think they put Ole Miss and one other of the top teams in the Citrus and what was formerly the Outback Bowl. This the non-playoff bowl games are about filling up stadiums. They're about putting fannies in the seats. Jacksonville is going to go for the Gators because that guarantees they'll fill up the seats. The other place I wouldn't mind going to see the Gators play would be in Tampa.
Gasparilla.
Not the Gasparilla Bowl.
No.
I'd like to see him play in
the formerly Outback Bowl.
The formerly Outback Bowl. And I would like to see them do that. I don't think they're going to. I think Ole Miss is going to be a shoe-in to play in the Citrus Bowl. But I think Florida and Jacksonville is the best fit. It sells the game out, and it ensures a really good crowd. I mean, a really good rating on television as well. So
let me talk about
that's what it's about.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I want to get this out, and something you guys can address, the group can address, and that is the fact that the last 2 weeks have sort of changed the landscape of what we've seen now in the SEC. We saw all of a sudden two teams, LSU and Ole Miss, bitten by the Gators. And my question is, how has it changed? Now, I hate to do this because it sounds awfully egotistical, but the best way I know is try to read you 2 or 3 paragraphs of what I wrote about this and get your thoughts, not necessarily about the writing, but about the thought. And forgive me for saying it like this. I don't know how else to say it better. In the netherworld of big boy football, dominated by the thunderclaps from Athens and Tuscaloosa and Austin, or maybe even College Station, it's easy to overlook the slumdog billionaires, or as we know them in gambling circles, the home dogs, Charlton. If you're not careful, they'll bite you 3 ways to Saturday because you're not likely to see them coming from Gainesville or Auburn or even another left field location to be determined. While you're focusing on the Crimson Tide or the Longhorns or maybe even the Bulldogs, these snipers can take you out. We saw that Saturday in Gainesville and in Auburn and in Norman. These sneaky assassins from the SEC can and will eat their own young and old just to spoil the party. In the name of parity, knock off aren't the pretty boys who were hoping to dodge the SEC title game anyway, if they could find a back door by getting a pink slip and live to fight again another day. Meanwhile, redemption, oh, redemption, how sweet it is, as we return to the glorious feeling of yesteryear in the swamp and on the plains. There is life again in Tom Pettyville and at Toomer's Corner. God, I love Southern football. So that's it for me. I just want to say that, what we're seeing here is not what we expected. We've seen some of the big guys get knocked off. Your response to that, Rob, you're a part of that.
Well, I mean, we talk every day with people from all the SEC schools. We had Alyssa Lang on this morning from SEC Network, and, she's going to be covering in the 19-degree weather Saturday, Missouri hosting Arkansas. She's excited about that. She was hoping she'd get to go to College Station, but I think you're exactly right. Saturday, I called it Takedown Saturday. The Gators, Doug Dean on our show said it. He said, look, Gators are going to get the Rebels. It's going to happen. You could say, like, again, Dennis Young, whatever, that song by Styx, Hangman is coming and I don't have long. That's what I've always thought of when you have to play in the swamp as a rival school. And we cover all 16 of them. Oklahoma, you think Brent Venables in that program is going to lay down and just say, kick me? They gave – that was a masterpiece. And then, golly, Auburn got the win against Texas A&M. I don't know if A&M on the road is a completely different team, but, Auburn's starting 6 true freshmen. I talked to a lot of the recruits after the game that I'm hearing are flipping, and I was with my friend that runs a collective at Auburn, and I'm not going to say how much cash they have right now, but It is an obscene amount, and
$50 million.
it's a lot. And I just, for the guys that are supposed to be flipping, and I'm going to tell you something, Billy Napier, again, you can't be critical of what Buddy said or anybody has said. Y'all are protecting a program that you care a lot about. And when you get passionate, that means you care. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But Florida should always be in the top 5, top 10 in recruiting. There's just too many people that care down there. So, yeah, Southern football, you can't get any better than what we saw. We got back to Lake Martin at 2 o'clock Sunday morning for the game. But you know what? I wasn't even tired. Yeah. Great column, buddy. That was awesome.
Thank you. I didn't read it for that reason, but thank you. All right. So, Carlton, that list of flippers is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but I don't think those, as good as that was, I don't think those guys are really turning the needle like what might happen. The big ones are
just
to
started.
come.
Just started.
Right. It's a snowball, but I'm looking at 3 guys. I'm looking at the Solomon Thomas kid who's committed to FSU, Jamie French, the wide receiver who's committed to Texas, and the cornerback from Birmingham who's committed to Ohio State. If they
Naheem offered,
yes, yeah. Offered. You get one of those 3, and there's talk that all 3 of them are considering making this flip. You've now gone from a number 19 class I saw in Rivals to top 10 class. This is a class that was ranked 43rd in that ranking system 2 weeks ago. Now, my money is on none of those 3 flipping, but
they just went to 19th, by the way.
19. Okay. Yeah, 43 a couple weeks ago before the LSU game, and now they're sitting at 19. So that's that trend like Allie Peak was talking about. Yeah. But can you imagine if they were to get all 3 of those flipped, they're probably a top 5 recruiting class. I'm not banking on them getting any of those guys to flip, but the fact that we're even having that conversation is pretty amazing right now.
Not bad for a bad recruiter, friends.
I will put money on right now. Solomon Thomas will flip. Jaime French is not going to flip. Going to go to Texas. They've doubled down on the money. He's not going. But the other kid that's on that Mandarin team who's committed to Miami, another 4-star guy, I would be willing to bet you he flips. I think Florida's going to wind up with a class that's probably number 8, 9, or 10, something like that. And that's going to be what's going to make that so important is Florida's going to become a hot school again. And it's been years. Will Muschamp made Florida a hot school recruiting wise, but he couldn't produce the wins on the field. And I think
that's a good way to put it. They are a hot school. And don't forget, they got Ty Jackson, linebacker, top 100. They got this flip today from this guy, Tunkara, from Arizona and Florida, from Texas. They got a flip from Cincinnati, Jahari Medlock.
Yeah.
So they've gotten some, and not to mention what they got last week, the quarterback and the other kid from FSU. So I would say they're making a mark out there pretty well, Rob. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, Naheem offered. I saw him at Auburn Saturday. I know a little about that one from Birmingham. He committed to Ohio State, in my opinion, to shut his father up. Just saying. There's a lot of stuff with NIL that, I mean, look, Florida should be a hot school. It always should be. But, you look at these 2 programs that, I cover all 16. Y'all cover primarily Florida, but you know about all these other schools. But Auburn and Florida have been down, and some other schools that aren't normally up have been up. Well, you're going to hear a big sucking sound here in the next 3 months from some other schools, because as Florida comes up, as Auburn starts coming back, and Alabama, I talked to the biggest Alabama donor that I know today. He's like, they are sweating bullets about the guys that they're losing.
Wow.
Yeah. They're sweating bullets about losing people because they're going. Let me tell you something. I heard a great term. A guy knows a coach on that Alabama staff. He said he's a COVID recruiter. You know, he said he's still playing Fortnite and Xbox with these kids over the phone. He goes, Hugh Freeze is sitting on the front porch talking about pot liquor and farming and going to church and stuff. You better know the families. And look at Florida. You got Freddie Weeby involved. Y'all know Freddie Weeby. I don't. I'd love to have him on my show, but y'all know him. You get smart people like that involved in the Gator Collective. I'll predict right now, you beat Florida State Saturday. Florida finishes 7th or 8th in the country in recruiting. It'll be that much of a momentum swing.
Yeah, well,
I don't know
Rob,
who they'll flip, but they'll just get some guys.
Yeah, Freddie stepped back now. He's giving that job back to them. He supports them. He wrote me a note over the weekend. I'm going to end it on this. We get called sunshine pumpers, whatever. Nothing wrong with being positive about this program. Do you finally begin to see now where all this goodwill is washing over the Gator faithful friends? It feels like it's a different situation. The field is a little more level, Carlton. And it seems like, I don't want to say are we back, but where are we at this point in time, Carlton? Where are we in this program? Give me about 45 seconds. Where is Florida? Are they back, on the way back, or what?
It's still a wait and see, in my opinion. It's a good vibe right now. Then it was not a good vibe a month and a half ago. So when you get a good vibe and it could be a snowball rolling, I think you got to stay positive about what the future is. That it can be, Florida can be what it used to be. You know, at least a clone of it. And we didn't even have a breath, back in September. So, it's a trending. That's as good as I'll say.
France, it feels to me like a great vibe. How does it feel to you?
I think that I think it's too early to say that Florida is back.
No, I
would say this:
the
wheels are not spinning on the pavement now and squealing. The wheels are moving forward, and I think that they're in a good place for the future. They need this win at FSU in the worst way, and it needs to be a decisive win. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's got to be 52-6, but you can have a 21-0 win that's totally dominant, and Florida needs a dominant win.
I know this is going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. It's always the guys now who I said, I told you so, and I said this. You select what you said about how great they were. Where were you? You abandoned this guy. I'm going to own my part, and I'm not going to let guys like Manuel Ramirez put words in my mouth. I never said those things. I did say that he probably was a dead man walking. I said that because he was 3 weeks ago, all right? Yeah. I said that. I never said he's an embarrassment to my school. No. Never. Don't put those words in my mouth. I said, maybe we should hire a general manager like a whole bunch of us did because things weren't getting done. I'm one of thousands who said that. So I don't run from that. And so we find a new coach. The minute Graham Mertz goes, you down, you change. That is a bald-faced lie, Manuel. I never said that. You've wrongly accused me. Get it right. If you want to criticize me, I'm here every night. Come on, bring it. But don't put words out there that I didn't say. Friends, I want you. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Rob, Carlton, have I ever said anything like that?
No. And the thing about it is Billy Napier has never been an embarrassment to Florida. He may have had some games when he did not coach well, or that or that people on his staff screwed up, but he's never been an embarrassment. He's represented the school well. His guys graduate, they don't get in trouble, and he's built a culture here. And I'm going to tell you something. There's something to be said about teams sticking together and about teams having camaraderie and this belief in each other and this willingness to stick with each other. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, and look, I don't know. I'm going to call it a sunshine pumper. I've been called a sunshine pumper. Now this guy's telling me I saw all this stuff negative. I'll own whatever I say here. I'm never going to run from it. Carlton, you said a few things too. You've owned what you said.
Oh yeah, no. After the Texas A&M game, I think I wrote, I think Billy Napier is a good coach. I'm just not sure he's the right coach, at least here at Florida. And I don't know how you could have come to any other conclusion. That seems like a soft landing when I wrote that. But I never said, "Hey, you got to fire this guy right now." I was all prepared to do that, come December. I'm never one who says get rid of a guy in the middle of the year. I want a season to play out, and that's kind of what I've always figured. I'm still not saying that Napier's going to lead this team to championships. Like Shane said earlier, next year they got to have a big year because everyone's feeling like this thing's going well. The plate of food is passing under our noses. We're smelling it. And if it isn't delivered next year, Napier's gone. I'll be the first one on that bandwagon.
Okay, and I'm not going to defend what I said was right because a lot of things I said were right. And I'm not going to make excuses for what I said was wrong. But I'm not going to be charged with things I didn't say. Period.
No.
Okay.
Don't worry about this guy, Manuel. I don't think he's too bright from what I've been reading on there.
He must be who knows. Bottom line is, fine. Call me what you want to say, but don't put words in my mouth and tell me what I said. And hey, listen. I think things are going the right direction. I'm glad that Scott Strickland made the decision he made it. And I said it the day before he made it. I thought it was time to maybe give him one more year. This is why? Because they didn't have anybody in better. People said, well, Lane Kiffin. Now, I would have been happy to see Lane Kiffin hire as the coach. But I said, and I let you guys put your 2 cents worth in there. I said, number one, don't think he's going to leave Ole Miss. So, he loves Florida. He loves Florida. Well, it takes a lot of money to make that happen.
He loved USC.
Well, yeah, but the point is that you can say anything you want to, but you look at the finance. You're good numbers with numbers, Carlton. You're a money guy, Rob. You have to pay that much money for a guy to leave $26 million. If you did, don't you think Jimmy Sexton would say, "Hey, I got an idea for you guys. How about we don't pay him $26 million to leave, but we do take $10 million and put it in the program for NILs and say when he does take the buyout, it's reduced to $16 million." That was my idea. Does that make sense, Rob?
Well, I was around some people. I mean, the father of an agent, he used to be with Jimmy Sexton a year ago. He's not now, but he had 125 coaches he was responsible for. And that's the head coaches and assistants. And he's got Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame now, Mike Norvell. He's got some really good clients. But I'll say this, you did not say that about Florida. And it's always darkest before dawn. And anybody on this panel, you're sharing the emotions. I mean, you know this program well. But, buddy, I would love it if you could pull up some old Alf Van Hoos columns or, Clyde Bolton columns from the late 60s when Alabama was 6-5 and Benny Marshall. The game has passed the old gray bear by. He switched to the wishbone before the 71 season, won 8 of the next 9 SEC championships and, 2 or 3 national championships, whatever it was. But the game had passed him by. I mean, buddy, you would be the one who could pull it up because you know those guys, Clyde Bolton, all those great writers. And because I have Philip Marshall on the show. Philip and you are very similar.
His
daddy, what you're talking about.
Benny was a great writer. Yeah.
And y'all know what you're talking about, too. And you did not say that. I'll defend you to hell and back.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. I want to say thank you to all you. And by the way, I want to say, friends, all of us wish your family the best. It's been a difficult time. Your loss of Dom Reynolds. There's a ceremony tomorrow. Why don't you tell them about it in Gainesville, friends?
Well, we have the graveside tomorrow. We had a celebration of life down at Eustis this morning, and it really was. He was a terrific man. Here's one of the things I want to say about him, and I'll kind of let this go in passing. I don't remember in 52 years Dom Reynolds Underwood ever asking for anything in return. He did stuff, always. He loved you. He did stuff for you. You asked him to do something, he would do it. But you want to know something? He never asked anything in return. I don't remember that. And that is the definition of being unconditional. That is the definition of being a true giver in life. You had a wife like that, buddy, Miss Joni, who I loved her to death. I don't remember her ever asking me anything in return, and she'd do things for me or ask me to do stuff for her, and I'd do it, and then she never asked anything in return.
Or she'd say, "Friends need a haircut."
She would tell me that, and she would tell me that you'd go off in your house, and she'd say, Buddy could get lost going to the bathroom in our own house. Buddy and GPS are legendary.
There you go.
I got to tell you something. There's something to be said about people, and we don't have enough of them in this world anymore who just give without saying what's in it for me, and I'm troubled by that. If there's a troubling trend in college sports that I hear from coaches, it is they talk every single day to kids who want to play ball somewhere, but the first thing they hear is not, "Coach, can you tell me how I'd fit in at your program?" Instead, they say, "Coach, what's in it for me to come to you?"
One thing I say about the 4 people or 3 people on this show with me, you're all givers. That's what I love about all 3 of you. I appreciate it so much. And again, you could say this about me, Rob Simplify, to Dom. He was obviously always will be a Marine. He had 3 college degrees from fabulous schools like VMI and Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech. And he was a good stepdad and a good dad to the wife, husband to Carlito. So RIP to Dom Reynolds. And thank you, friends, for sharing that with us. All right.
3 tours of Vietnam, was with the tank battalion that fought up Highway 9 to liberate Khe Sanh, saw things that nobody should ever see. And yet was proud to be an American and proud to have done his part for the country. And I applaud him for that.
Yeah. RIP, Dom. Friends, thank you for sharing. Rob, thank you for coming on tonight and being with us. Carlton, thank you for this and all the great college you've been writing.
Thank you, buddy.
We just remind folks, if you want to read more of Carlton or friends, or sometimes maybe Rob, we'll see. Check us out on GatorBaitMedia.com and see what you think about it. Love to hear from you. Thanks, guys. Great job tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. All right, folks, we want to wrap it up tonight with our message from Rinstar Medical Research. And we want to tell them how much we appreciate them, supporters of our show for so long, and a great, here in my hometown of Ocala, a great stakeholder downtown. They do things for the community. Most of all, do things for you and your health, and you need to know about it. They want you to know they need information, and the way they get it are through these clinical trials they put on. They take that data and move it to these companies and get more information about us, what's indigenous to us. And I think I see Ben Troop in the back there. Stand by, Ben, real fast. So I want to tell you about, just remember, if you have an opportunity to go to see or go to be a part of the clinical trial, do that. Clinical trials are a part of what they do. Get that information, send it off so you can find a better way to have better health. Rinstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Let's say hello and good night to Ben Troop. What's up, Benny?
What's up, man? Boy, when I tell you I be all over the place, I mean, I hear you over here holding it down, though. What's going on with you, buddy?
We only got a few minutes, but I want to get you in after that. What a weekend this has been, I'm telling you. Get your thoughts on beating 2 teams like that. This team is ready now to go to the next level. What impressed you the most?
What impressed me the most, buddy, was the poise of DJ Lagway, the Swamp, how it came alive, and how at the end of the game, how all the players ran in the end zone while all those recruits were. Because I think sometimes, buddy, remember we can, and obviously I just feel, elated for Billy Napier with the post-game press conference, him just, holding back the tears, watching Montrell Johnson have the senior day he had. The ovation that Graham Mertz got, it's just a lot of things fell in place, buddy. And what makes it the most fitting is the quote head coach that everybody thought that we were gonna get is on the other sideline, watching, what it's like to be, to play against us at home. And I just think the product on the field was incredible, buddy. I mean, not just this week, but last week. And you see all the flips, you see all the commitments that's coming. And buddy, you said this. You said, look, we come on here every week and people be thinking, that we got everybody, me and you got everything but pom-poms, right? We the cheerleaders. We don't ever say anything negative, about Billy Napier. But you kept saying, man, you got to stay the course. Got to stay the course. Got to build a culture. Got to stay the course. Nick Saban goes on game day. Got to build a culture. I said this. I said before the season, I said 75 at worst, 8-4 at best. And I said if he goes 75 and everybody he loses to is either a college football playoff contender or a potential conference champion, that's coach of the year type stuff. But people laugh. I want you to go listen. I want you to listen to what Kirk Herbstreit said about Billy Napier after the game. And I think, buddy, you've seen a lot more, Florida football than I have. But when you talk about a resurgence don't happen, 3 or 4 years. That's the time it takes. Everybody, Scott Strickland comes out and says that Billy Napier going to be back in 2025. People talking about, what is he talking about? We go and get our, butts handed to us, up there in Austin. But we also had our third string quarterback who was, which we get that. LSU, big win. Impressive win. Ole Miss, huge win. Had to do it on offense, had to do it on defense, had to do it on special teams. So I'm just happy to see, something, great things happen to great people. And I'm going to keep on saying this. Billy Napier, if you are listening, I know you don't have to do this. Sit down with Buddy Martin, not because he's Buddy Martin, because you need an intimate. Buddy, I know you wouldn't do this, but every head coach got to have that intimate portrait to where
he's got everybody else. He's fine.
Well, but I don't. This thing, I don't. The reason why I don't believe he has everybody else. This is what you do, buddy. That I know now because I know you now. Every columnist, analyst, reporter can't get you to talk to them. They're gonna ask questions. You're gonna answer them. I believe you can look at them and say, "Listen," because I know you always talk to a coach before you come on. You say, "Look, I know you. I know who you are, but I don't know if the world knows who you are." So this is the type of interview to where talk to us. Because we've seen you grow as a coach. We've seen the ups and the downs and the ebbs and flows. Who is Billy Napier? And I believe he'll talk to you because I think, buddy, now is the time because this is gonna be the first time in during his tenure that he's gonna have hype going into 2025. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm glad you could make it on tonight. I'm sorry we didn't get it earlier, but Thanksgiving week, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you. Hope you have a terrific meal at the Troop household. I know you will. Some of that sweet potato pie, probably.
Listen. My wife named Cheryl and my mom named Cheryl. So I'm gonna be sandwiched in between Cheryl Troops. One is my wife, one is my mom. We'll see what happens. I can't go wrong.
What better sandwich could you make than that? All right. So, all right, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon. Great Ben Troop. Thanks, man.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it. All right, folks. I'll wrap us up for the night. What does it say? Well, let's just go say good night. Thank you.